Hello everyone. Welcome to Spiritism at Noon, a program brought to you by the Spiritist Group of New York. And we have been studying the works of the benefactor Joanna de Angelis. And more recently, we have started the book that is called A Full, a Full Life. And as always, each chapter brings a different subject. So if you're just joining today, you will be able to follow all the reflections we are about to bring. We are going to be sharing our screen. And with that, we can start reading and um, and then commenting. Do we have a volunteer for reading?
Yeah, I'll read if you want, Yusara.
Okay, I'll put it even bigger, and I'll tell you when to stop, okay?
Okay, okay, okay. Insist and persevere. From time to time, diligent workers are assaulted by boredom and fatigue in the constant work on behalf of the good. These feelings manifest themselves in a subtle and persistent way, diminishing the enthusiasm that must always be present in any activity that requires repetition during an indeterminate length of time. The constant repetition of any given task tires the workers and robs them of their initial enthusiasm. Highly regarded works and relevant tasks go through these emotional upheavals, which are normal in any undertakings. Whenever you notice that you are having these unpleasant feelings, analyze the situation serenely, and two alternatives will arise with rationalizations that will help you choose a conduct compatible with the right decision. The first alternative, resulting from fatigue, is the favorite offspring of routine, which always requires a new stimuli to bring joy to the task. Day-to-day life and its duties naturally cause tiredness, which can lead to a loss of interest and the consequent abandonment of any commitment. The same happens to effective and social relationships. The initial enthusiasm wanes as people get more accustomed to each other. What is new and different always feels fresh and pleasant, while repetition makes things feel flat and ordinary. There is, however, a way to defeat this, which tends to get worse, leading us to a loss of interest in our very lives. Seeking new, pleasant behaviors, new words, topics not yet discussed will help keep us engaged. Any endeavor requires that we renew our enthusiasm by reformulating its methodology.
It's okay. Thank you.
Okay.
So, uh, 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 starting from the title, insist and persevere. And in the current state of involvement that we are, most of the time, what we are more enthusiastic about it is things that perhaps we shouldn't be doing in the first place, especially repeating them. Even when we are, eating something that we like and we eat more than we should, or if we are thinking all the time, I want to be on vacation. Yes, there is time for vacation, but we also have our responsibilities. Well, I like to play video games, so I will spend 5 hours of my day playing video games, all of those things that could be, a good distraction in sorts of entertainment, but that not necessarily brings anything to us. So here she says that especially those that are engaged in the works of good, many times after the first period of enthusiasm happens, they can lose heart. Let's talk about the work that we do. Sometimes, we start a study group. We start a study group with, I don't know, 30 people. And then after, week after week, people go away. They do not come back. And we may always be questioning ourselves. What are we doing? What are we doing that it's not okay? It's not, making people more enthusiastic about it. And we start thinking that, week after week is always the same thing, or, all sorts of things. And she says here, especially those dedicated to good, sometimes we wait for recognition too much. We want to be rewarded if something negative happens to us, and immediately we blame God, saying, look, I'm being a good girl, and why am I going to so much trouble, for example. And so it is, the thing is that many times, because it's harder for us to do good, if we don't see the immediate results of our actions and efforts, there will be, or we can go through this kind of emotion of thinking that we're not getting anything from it, it's not making a difference, and things like that. So here she's not telling us to move away from our good deeds, our good actions and good enterprises. But at the same time, if we are feeling this void, so to say, we could look for something else, something that is going to refresh. Sometimes, when we were talking about the study, just a change in the subject. Like, for instance, now we are going to be studying 2 books, right? Just not to be every week in the same book, but anything that can, let's say, spice up a little bit, but we are talking about good things. We're not talking about bad things. Let's say that now you say, you know what? I can do I can make a very good soup. I'm going to look for a place where they serve people that are in need of food, and I'm going to volunteer for, once a week, once a month. I'll go there and prepare this soup. So this is what she's talking here in terms of the pleasant behaviors, new words. We can even try to learn a new language if this as well is going to facilitate our conversations in everything, but always looking in things that are going to be productive. I was just remembering about that story. I probably already told you that Divaldo said that he had, someone that he knew, a woman that I think at the age of 80 something, she decided to go and study medicine to become a doctor. And she was so happy about it, so enthusiastic about it. And Vivaldo was looking at her and seeing, her so much closer to being that than anything else. And he said, well, but you are not having many expectations about that, right? In terms of his becoming a doctor and start even your own practice. She said, oh no, I don't mind about it. I just want to learn, and I know that everything that I learn, it's going to be with me forever. So for next incarnation, I will already have accumulated all this knowledge. So this is, something that we could think about it. Well, maybe is there any use for me to speak, I don't know, Esperanto? Maybe not, but we never know if in the future this is going to be the universal language. I can start now, so when I have to learn in a new incarnation, I will have, the basics already in me. So there are those kind of things that are always productive, that are always going to bring more things. Having said that, we are not condemning the times of leisure that we have to have. Sometimes our heads are so tired, we cannot engage in something more that requires even more attention from your brain. But this is what she's talking about. Keep on doing the good work, even if it feels like it's a bore. because good work has to be done. But if you need something extra, look for, other things that can help you grow even more, and that will give you new enthusiasm about. How many people we meet that sometimes say, oh, you don't know, now I start painting porcelains, right? And they are so happy, and of course all the friends already know that what you're going to get as gifts from this person is from birthdays or Christmas is always going to be porcelain, right? That she painted herself exclusively for you. So those are the things that we are talking about. Any comment or question?
Yeah.
Yes, Sonia?
Yes, I understand what she tried to share with us. But thinking about life, and then every time when challenges happen in my life, bad situation, waves off, so many troubles come to me, I usually use this routine to keep my mind safe. And because every time is so many different things coming to us and then keeping us far from the goodness. Then instead to blame like, oh, my routine is I'm so tired about this. I use this daily things that I have to do in my home, in my life, to keep me safe in the right path.
You're talking about a supplement, or you're talking about the attitude?
No, life.
Yes, okay.
Life problems.
Yes.
And because many times we try to rest you during the night, and the thoughts coming, and then you are not able to see which way, which solution what can I do to have this solution. And then my mom usually to say, when you don't know which way you are going to take, which behavior you have to have a solution, pray, and Jesus, I give this problem on your hands.
Yes, that's the best thing, because those things, the troubles we have in life can also bring dismay to us and lose the heart to keep on living, or or bring us to uh, mood depression and all those things. And amazingly enough, like she says here, we have to pay attention even in the works of good. For instance, we in our group that we are engaged with the work of mediumship, and also the work of weekly prayers. Sometimes we may say, oh, it's always the same. It's always the same kind of spirit that come to communicate. It's always the same response, or it's always the same prayers. It's just a repetition, because we are not measuring the benefit that they are bringing. They may seem very simple. Sometimes even we may feel that it's kind of irrelevant. If I don't participate, or if I don't engage with that, it's not going to make a difference. But we don't know. We are not seeing what is making to people, in their lives. Even today, I myself, I experienced that. I was in need of prayers, and I, joined the group prayers, and it made me feel so much better. So I think that this is one of the things, and for the ones that are engaged in that, they may see, oh yeah, it's always the same routine. We open saying that, we close saying that, or this or that. But no, right? It is, the energy is going, is traveling. Even if I was not connected, especially if I was in tune with that, I would be feeling the benefits. So this is what she's saying here. Don't give yourselves to this kind of emotion of thinking that, it's always the same. We don't see that much result. Again, it's like, this little plant that I have behind me, until it comes to a point, I think, when it comes out from the earth, it starts sprouting. We don't know what is going on, but, life is revolving there. Things are going through there. Yes, Marcette, go ahead.
I think I always happen. This always happens to me. I always think first in give up because it's easier. Always is easier give up for everything. Relationship, work that we started. But when I can real think about the goal that I want to reach, I think I have more strong to continue the work. So I think it's a process, a inner enlightenment, understanding about ourselves. Because I'm doing therapy. I always said to her, "Look, I would like, for example, I would like to be a pianist, but I don't want to go through the process. I don't want to play every day. So I never will be a good pianist. So I need to think. I want to go through this process. I really want to go to reach this goal. If I don't want to pass for all this process, so give up. But if I want to do, so I need to. It's like my group happens exactly that you said. I started with a big group. I had a group of studying Portuguese. So we studied the gospel during Tuesdays today, but 1 hour before. And it started with 8 people. And I'm super happy. I'm doing my best. And some weeks, almost one person appeared, sometimes two, and say, wow, but I need to keep continuing. What is my goal? If this one person is learning, we are doing good reflection, so I will continue in my work. So this is about, our goal, what goal we want to reach. If we don't know, it's like our boat is going to left or right. We don't know where we want to go. I think just talk about a little bit this. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting because well, I'm going to share something. I don't know, maybe Soraya already know that, but maybe she doesn't even remember. About 28 years ago, when I moved here to the US, I started attending a Spiritist group. And because I was coming from London, having worked in a Spiritist group, all in English there, the director of the group said, listen, we are always trying to, to have or to keep or maintain a study group in English. Would you like to be the coordinator of this study group? And I said, of course. And there I was. So, it was like this, week after week, we would be 2, 3, 4, 5. After a few months, it was just me and Elmo having private classes with me for I don't know how long. And there were times that I have to confess that I wish he was not there, because we were having the study group in English at the same time that we had the talks in Portuguese in a bigger room. And sometimes we had guest speakers that were very nice, and I wanted to go there and attend it, but Elmo would not leave the class. So here I was, myself and Elmo, and he would arrive without saying a word, and leave without saying a word. So there I was, 1 hour, basically speaking alone. And okay, time went by, Elmo and Joanna and myself, we opened the Spiritist group years later. It's been 23 years already. And how he is one of the key figures of the Spiritist group of New York. But after a certain time, I don't know, 5 years or something later, he came to me and he said, Jusara, do you know why I never missed our classes in English? Because I wanted to learn Spiritism in English because I wanted to pass this knowledge to my children and be able to communicate with them. Oh my God, I felt such a inner guilt. Because sometimes I really wish I wasn't there, oh my God, oh, let me go there and watch this talk. Or, because it was hard. Can you imagine these two people sitting in front of another, and I was going, I did everything by myself. So that was it. And, years later, because of him, we opened the Spiritist group. Today, the Spiritist group, like I say, it's like a table with 3 legs, and he is one of those legs. I mean, maybe now it's more than 3 legs, but we have all of you. But I mean, the initial work, and we couldn't do that without him. And so, I could see that. I could see the importance, not exactly when it was happening. And like I'm confessing to you now, many times was quite hard. And sometimes I felt about not going, even not going, miss the class. Oh, I'm so tired. My son was a baby, a newborn. And I had to leave him either with Joao or someone else to go to the center. The center was like an hour and a half from my home. And so it was, I had to pay money for the sitter to be with him. So it was a lot of trouble just to go there and to give a private class to almost, all right? But now we see the results. So I think this is have everything with what she's saying here. Insist and persevere, even because we don't know, and we may never, not never, because when we return to the spirit realm, we are going to know about those things, but maybe in this life we will not know the impact. Like you yourselves, every week after week you are here with me, and I mean you give me motivation and enthusiasm to to prepare, to do my best. And so it is very, very important, not to mention all the spirits that are following us, and all that because we are not giving ourselves to boredom, to losing our enthusiasm, to thinking it's going too slow, this is not going to make any difference. Did you know that, Zoraida? Have I ever told you about this?
No, all I know is that, no, I thought you were an angel. When I first went into that meeting, it was a niece who told us that in this place that she went, she was getting some books or whatever. And there was a book of Allan Kardec. I think I've told you that story before. And she said, gee, that book looks familiar. That's the book that we used to use in the family when we used to do our prayers. And she understood and didn't understand. But then when she saw the book, Allan Kardec, she went to you and she asked you, do you study this? And you had explained to her, yes, and that we have a place where we study. There's a spirit group that we go and we study this book. And she was amazed beside herself. She said, what is going on here? my family is studying this and I don't know anything. And there's a place where you go pray about spirits. And so she came to her mother and told him, and my sister told me, and I went berserk because after my mother passed away, there was no place that we can go. We had to continue studying. There was no place. So when she told me that, you gave her a card or something. So I called you. I don't think you remember.
No.
And you don't remember. So I very politely, I said, oh, my name. And I said, oh, I didn't want to intrude and feeling like I didn't know what I was talking about. But I explained it to you. And you said, oh, we have a place. Yes, we have a place in Manhattan. I says, what place? So you explained it to us and everything. I says, what? There's a study place. They teach spiritism with Allan Kardec's books and codifications. What is she talking about? So you invited me. You said, you come with your family. If you have your sisters, come. So we came. And that day I'll never forget. You were giving a class. The board was there and you were writing on the board. And I said, oh. And after you finished, I came to you and I spoke to you and I told you I was the one who was speaking to you on the phone. And you said, oh yes, welcome, welcome, welcome. So I was like enthralled. I thought when you were giving that class, I swear, I said, this lady must come from heaven. I don't know what she's talking about. This is everything my mother taught us and we didn't pay no mind to it. Look at her. And there were people there. There were a few there. And and I just thought of you as this lady comes from heaven. I don't know what's going on here. So if anything, you think that there was a reason why all this happened with you. You had to stay there. You had to teach, or else you would have lost a few of us or many of us. So I am so glad that you were there and you're still there in heart and spirit and work and everything. And yesterday there was an incident that happened. I had a doctor's appointment yesterday and I was going through changes because of my sister. A lot of things are happening in the family. And so I had a doctor's appointment because I'm not feeling well now and then. So you know what I thought? I says, I'm not going to any doctor. I'm going to the spirit school. And I went yesterday. Oh my God. I left yesterday with an open heart. They gave me so much to deal with. And it was like a miracle that happened. I came from there with a different look at life and stop this worrying and stop doing this and stop doing that. It is amazing. So I spoke to Elmo and I told him, Elmo, I didn't go to my doctor's appointment. and so I'm very forgetful. So you know what he told me? He told me, don't worry, Soraya, what you do is when you call the doctor, tell him that you forgot that you had an appointment. I said, Elmo, are you telling me? He says, Soraya, you'll be all right. And I think it was a perfect decision that I did. And I went last night and it was so much blessings and strength that they gave me. And that was because of perseverance. Choose the right road. Go and do what you have to do. The doctor's going to talk to you about the same thing. You know what you have to do. Go and go get help spiritually. And I'm so glad that I did. So if you think for one moment that, I wasn't sure, no, Drusada, you're an angel in disguise. I'm sorry. You're an angel in disguise. So I thank you for that.
Oh, angel.
In disguise over 20, how many years? 23, 22. Oh, I don't
We're
count.
going to 24 since we opened
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
it is amazing. It's beautiful. And
Yeah,
thank
well,
God.
you were part of all that at the beginning, and all of you are
God.
making it possible to continue, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think it's so important what you're also sharing with us, because it is what Joanna de Angelis is telling us here in terms of insisting, persevering, and if we know that we are on the right track, like you were saying, Marcel, it doesn't matter. We don't know exactly how things are working, and let us again remember that even the renowned name we have in the Spiritism, that is from Francisco Xavier, Chico Xavier, as we call him. For 2 years, he would be sitting there in the room by himself, and he wanted to stop, and his spirit guide said, no, you have to be there. And people already thought, we are talking about 1930s, you know, in a very small village in the state of Brazil, and people already thought he was crazy. And when he was there, and he had to talk out loud, like Emmanuel the Spirit told him. And I mean, people would pass by because he said that people could see him from the windows. And then we move all doubt that he was crazy, right? There he was talking out loud. And, oh my God, for 2 years. For 2 years.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's one thing, you know, of course, later on, I understood that, because many times I say, even before we are working with the people in the physical body, we are working with the spiritual psychosphere. So sometimes, in order to establish something, you have first to, you know, before I have a party, I give a party at my house, I have to clean my house. Right, I have to clean the atmosphere, the whole thing. And you understand that cleaning is much more, you know, it entails much more than just go there and Windex or something, or Clorox or something, right? We're talking about the whole atmosphere that envelop that that peace on earth. So here I live in a building. It's not only my home, it's, you know, it's the whole almost neighborhood that has to be somehow prepared for this to happen, right? So little by little, we have glimpses of what the work really means, and we have, you know, the you know, words of motivation, I'd like to just mention now, Zoraida, and that's what keeps us going. But above all, deep inside ourselves, we know what is right, and we hope, though, that we have to go on. Let's read a little more. And I don't think we will be able to finish today the chapter, but that is not a problem. Let's go there.
Where are we?
The second alternative is more complex, right at the top here.
I can't see that. It's not showing me.
Okay,
yeah, now it's okay now. The second alternative is more complex because we are in contact with the unpleasant and malignant forces that thrive on the planet. Idle spirits who delight in afflicting human beings begin to exert their negative influence on principled individuals, tarnishing their the pleasure of action with the fatigue that occurs in everything and worsens the more it is cultivated, inducing or even taking advantage of our exhaustion. They interfere by favoring an untimely repose, transfer, and even replacement of good works with idleness or pernicious futility. We can always find a reason to replace something that is good and noble, but exhausting and repetitive for something less taxing and insignificant to fill our existing emptiness until the moment of awakening, provoked by the loss of the meaning of life. Whatever the cause for the emotional or psychical reason, strive to break what runs the risk of becoming a new habit that will replace the difficult task you have been performing. Think about the benefit that results from your efforts, and you will feel a tranquil joy that will soon come to you, canceling out that feeling of existential uselessness now and assailing you. Resist this perturbing thought and trust in God that offers you a spiritual program that you can implement, keeping in mind that you can do even more, remaining always productive and transforming your existence in a gospel of actions in a matter of resolve. Keep doing what you are doing. and consider that your actions add to other people's actions, and together they give rise to the dynamic of life. Do not accept spiritual suggestions to leave things for later. It is a mere fantasy of the inconsequent unconscious. You were reborn to evolve and to grow even further. The space once occupied by your work will be filled with something smaller and less relevant. Do not accept the suggestion that it will become much better later. Another time means never. Unaccustomed to relevant responsibilities, the mind always finds a way to postpone duties that have their proper time. And once those precious moments have passed, the circumstances will not be the same. And though the work could still be done, it will show a lack of responsibility on your part.
Okay, so first she's talking about things that normally we comment, that is, we're not alone, right? We have our share, of course, of benefactors, good spirits that are with us, that helps us, especially our guardian angel. But we also have those that do not want us to advance, and even less that light can prevail, because otherwise they will lose their psychic atmosphere, like we were saying before. So of course they will try to take advantage of this, the negative emotions we may feel, like this that she was saying, loss of heart, it's too boring, and all those things that can remove us or from the work, excessiveness of the tiredness. Of course, the work many times tire us, life tires us, right? With the so many problems we have to face. But this, she says, we have to do it. We have to keep on going and not letting this new state of behavior that is basically giving up and just kind of numb ourselves take place. And of course, and now what is very serious that she says here, we may even stop and catch up, but it still is not going to be the same thing. There is all the time wasted that we will have to respond for. So, and this saying, another time means never. So when we keep on doing, say, oh, another time, oh, do that another time, it means never. So, and if we allow our minds to get used to this idleness, it's really hard to keep on going. This is one thing, one kind of behavior that we see in the spiritist centers. We can even talk about the pandemic that we had, a couple of years ago, and how many people did not go back to the center, or even without the pandemic, when we go through things in life and this and that, it can be even good things. We lose the habit, and it's so hard to get back to good habits again. We can talk about gym, right? You start all enthusiastic, and you keep on doing, and something happens, vacation. Okay, and then you come back, and you lost the habit. It was not rooted there yet, and you don't do anything about it, right? So it is very hard, and especially when we are talking in our commitment to good. One thing, there is one talk that I give, that one of the, the recommendation the Spirit says is exercise goodness. And I was intrigued the first time that I was reading that, because well, what are they talking about? But then I realized that the thing is, for us, choosing wrongly is our second nature. And choose right is not yet. So we have to keep on practicing good to become a second nature to us. You the less you expect, the least what you expect, you will see yourself reacting in a good way, because now you've been practicing it so much day after day. You've been training yourself, you've been going to behavior spiritual therapy, right? And then you will see yourself a different person. Things that you used to react in a certain way no longer is part of yourself, and this is why we have to practice, because it's the only way that it will come naturally, and each time more we are going to be acquiring more and more virtues. Any comment or question? No? Let me see how much we have here to read. Oh, we can finish. So go on. No sound.
Sorry. Good workers are those who do not choose their tasks, but execute even the simplest ones with renewed joy. Those who committed themselves to work in Jesus' vineyard should always be active and optimistic, for he himself, who came to earth on a special mission, began his journey in the intimacy of his own family as a competent helper, and finished it with the wings of love and wisdom, soaring towards the infinite. He never turned down work of any kind, from helping his mother around the house to being humanity's guide, which he has led since the beginning of time into its immortal future. He joyfully coexisted with the excluded, just as he joyfully received Pharisees, rabbis, and the much detested tax collectors. He spoke gently both to a woman in Samaria and to more than 5,000 people on the mount, where he delivered the unsurpassed beatitudes. Everything was of the utmost importance to him. He never stopped helping because of weariness or banality. Reintroduce Jesus into your heart and mind. Draw your strength from him to insist and persist until the end. The most humane blessing in the earthly existence is work. Spiritism repeats the Lord's lesson, adding solidarity, which is the work for the benefit of others, and tolerance, which is radiating peace while living amongst those who do not understand us.
So this is, the advice by Joanna de Angelis. The good workers do not choose the task. They say, like Paul before Jesus, at that time he was still Saul, what do you want me to do? And he just went and did it. He didn't say, you know what, this is not for me. This is going to be too much work. I don't know. Like we can see in the movie No Solar, right? When there is this woman that is going to talk to the minister and say that she requires a lot of help. But he said, what have you been giving back to the community? We gave you so many different tasks, and it seems that you couldn't fulfill anything. And she's saying, oh, because of this, because of that, always giving excuses. So good work is good work. And as much as we accomplish it, there is no bad work. We all have a part. Sometimes we have this idea that because we fill certain positions, we are more important than others. It is not. We are a group. And all the positions of the group you know, like the pieces that we have in a watch. If the tiniest one is missing, the watch is not work. It's not going to work. So we don't need to say, oh, I would like to be this beautiful part or engine in the watch. It seems so important. No, at the end of the day, both do the same thing, make the watch works. And if we remove one of them, the bigger one and the smallest that we can think, it is not going to work. And this is what she's saying here. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the size of the task. Don't worry whether you think it's important or not. It doesn't seem as important in others. You know, just go and do it. And another thing that it impacted me a lot, she comes here and says that more than 5,000 people were in the Mount listening to the Sermon on the Mount. I mean, this number is not a number that she's just throwing at us.
Awesome.
Can you imagine that? The magnitude of that moment where so many people gathered to hear. No one at that time, that's what people thought. That many went there out of curiosity, right? Who's this guy? I mean,
Yeah.
I see, it's a celebrity. It's becoming a celebrity, right? And so, I mean, this number is a number that Joanna de Angelis knows. So it was not just a few people scattered there at the Mount. And they all could hear Jesus without soundtrack.
Right.
And in different languages. They all heard Jesus in their spirit. So it's so inspiring. And now we were called by Jesus to be one of the simple workers. But in his words, would be a relevant servant, because all our works are relevant. And I think this is what we have to think about. And next time we start questioning our importance and the importance of the things that we are doing, and just find each time more motivation to just keep going. Life will happen, and but eternal life is here for us. Okay, any more comments or questions? Yes, Marcel. And
I remember when I first, 20 years ago, I went to a center, Spirit Center in Brazil, in São Paulo, and I said, I want to work here to help, but I don't want this kind of work, right? A simple work. I wanted to give pass, this kind of things. And she said, no, you will be here in front of the center, attending the people that is coming, explaining how it works. And I say, okay, giving papers, and a long time passed by, and she explained, do you think this is not important? I think maybe, how you explain for these people will do that these people come me or no. You are the most important part of the Spirit Center. The way that you explain, the way that you talk about the Spirit Center will be all the difference. So I understand that each part of the Spirit Center is so important, not because in our mind, this work is just a simple work. And it's like you said, I think Paul doesn't say, no, I want to do this or that. It's like, I think this is all in our lives, even in the house. So clean the floor, clean the spaces, the bathroom, always important, not just one-off part. So I think we need to start changing our minds about the importance of our things, the things that we need to do.
Yes, absolutely. Sonia?
Question is about, do you believe we were there at the mountain, listening?
Good question.
Well, maybe some of us were.
Yeah.
And they're still here, try to learn. Oh my goodness, how long way.
I don't think I was.
It is exactly what Joanna de Angelis said.
Yeah.
We heard, we were invited to do the work, but then it seemed too hard, it seemed too boring, it seemed too rowing a lot against the current, and then we wasted time, and then to pick up again, like she said, until you pick up again and start again, centuries have passed. And in the past few centuries, I think it has been a pathway for us to try to catch up, and to make something that can help us in this work of, that we and make up for the lost time. And that's why sometimes some of us, may feel even too much, committed. People will call you even, how do I say, radicals or fanatics. But it's because deep inside yourself, you know how much time you have lost. And now you don't want to take the risk of, losing time. You understand that time is precious. And in the eyes of the world, this is how the behavior will seem to be like one that is too fanatic, but it's just because we know, oh my God, I had the chance. I saw Jesus. And I didn't respond to his call.
Okay.
Thank you to give our classes and one more opportunity to us to learn.
To learn.
So here we are, the workers of the last hour. And as the parable, we wind up getting the same. It's a shame that we didn't start earlier, but we will wind up getting the same. It's just a matter of applying ourselves now. So there is no time to waste. Again, we don't need to be fanatics. We don't need to be preaching to others. We don't need to be this inconvenient person. We are entitled to our times of leisure, all of that, but always bringing into our day-to-day lives the goodness and trying to live by Jesus' examples.
Yes.
Okay?
Exercise of goodness.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much.